and see what you know, what you like, and why you're here.
I'm going to start taking off my clothes.
You start with the Hey, calm.
Hey, it's a PG con.
Yeah, we're now in the Omni. Momocon is now PG. I'm sorry, you should see it for like AWA.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, no way.
Rain check.
Yeah.
Show the belly.
All right.
Show the belly.
So I'm gonna actually start right here in the front with you, sir. Hold on. We got people to introduce.
All right.
All right.
Go.
So I want you to tell us who are you and why are you a fan of Fate and all the other Type-Moon universe stuff.
I am Lou, that's what you can call me, and I'm a fan of Fate Zero because I enjoy the somewhat straightforward storytelling.
All right. Now I have to ask: are you aware that Fate Zero was written and then directed by Gen Urobuchi?
Yes.
All right, so Gen Urobuchi is famous for his not straightforward storytelling. He does Madoka Magica and Psychopaths. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. All right. How about you, sir? Why are you a fan of the Type-Moon universe?
Because Tsukihime was the first visual novel I ever read.
Yeah. I gotta ask.
Yes.
What was your favorite route? What would you like to do the most in that?
Kohaku.
Cool stuff. Good. And you, ma'am. You'll please come over here.
Really close.
Yeah, the problem here is that I don't have enough cable, is the reality. So you should all get a get up. No. Tell me. Hey. So, tell me why you're a fan of the Type-Moon universe.
I really like Type-Moon universe because Rin and Saber are really gay.
All right. I'll buy it.
Lesbians.
Yeah.
Hey, how about that Ilya and Koro?
Hey, not your turn. And you, sir, are you a fan of the Type-Moon universe? Actually, please come here. All right. Why are you a fan of the Type-Moon universe?
Because only in the Type-Moon universe do gender-bent King Arthurs look so good.
Yes. True statement. Hey, we have a Shiro.
She also eats a lot.
I have a request. Shiro, Archer.
Bum ever.
No fighting.
Shiro, I'm on your side because you're not a quitter.
Yeah.
You're gonna never quit.
Yes. All right. Sir, you'll please come up. I know. Why are you a fan of Type-Moon universe? Hey, tell everybody. Join me. Yeah. Why are you a fan?
I'm actually here because a friend is actually a friend of one of the parents.
What? You're not a fan?
I'm new.
All right, he's new. Welcome. Please sit, and we will indoctrinate you into why Type-Moon is awesome. You're the same as him? All right. We'll brainwash you too.
Dragged into this.
Hold on. Sir, I see your hand.
Oh, no, I wasn't bringing I'm with the on-day side. I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen any of this?
All right, let's go ahead and do this now.
All right.
Raise your hand if you are completely unfamiliar with Type-Moon.
Wow. Holy shit. Shiro, you lying bitch. No. After.
Right. You came to the right panel, maybe.
Legitimate.
Well, if that is true, then we're about to destroy your entire life.
No.
Yes.
Can you specify what type?
Oh yeah, sure. So we like rocky moons that have high mineral content. We're not a huge fan of the icy ones. I recognize that there might be life there, but you know what? I'm not looking to start interplanetary war.
Drayton is Bay.
Yeah.
Drayton is Bay. Everyone knows that.
All right. So we're almost done with this row, and I'd like to finish it before we start the panel. So you, sir, come on. Here we go. Why are you a fan of the Type-Moon universe? Here we go.
Because Gilgamesh is Bay.
Yeah. Wait, James. Can we get Gilgamesh up here? Can you show me the Gilgamesh panel? Yeah. Go. Just go. It's in there. You removed it?
Wait, what?
You removed Gilgamesh?
That was my one page. That was my only page I contributed.
Is there an older version with naked Gil? Because that's what I want.
That was
We're working on it.
that was literally my
Technical
only
difficulties.
contribution.
That
to
was
the
a
panel.
technical error. It will be corrected.
All right. The panel's actually about to start, and I'd like to introduce the panelists. So in this case, I'm Kevin. I'm a huge fan, right? Huge fan of the Type-Moon universe. I'd like to say that I organized this, but I didn't actually. That goes to James Trin. He's awesome. Thank him. Everybody, thank him. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been here last year, this year, or at AWA. So awesome. All right. Next up is Clinton, who's our local archer. Sorry. You're new. Yeah. All right, Clinton, why don't you tell us what you bring to this panel?
Well, I first got into Type-Moon back in 2010. I actually discovered it with the Studio Dean anime, and then I discovered the visual novel and Zero and everything thereafter as they came out, as they were released. I did a panel in 2013 at Comic-Con in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and that was the only fake con of that convention I ever had. And so then when I saw these guys were doing it here last year, I talked to them about doing a collaboration, and we just picked it up ever since, and here we are today.
He's awesome, by the way.
Archer a shit!
Yeah, Archer's a quitter. I'm sorry. All right. I'd like to introduce our next panelist, Trip. Trip, why don't you tell us what you bring to this panel?
I've seen and watched everything. Say, like, Kagetsu Toya, because I'm not. Has anyone here played Kagetsu Toya?
Oh, one guy. Two guys. Three?
Four.
Wow.
Way to go.
Not alone!
That UI is so terrible.
Yeah.
Only 4 of you are getting that, but you don't understand how awful the UI is.
I started playing it because of last year.
I know. Oh, you were here
Wonderful.
last year. Awesome.
Well, we'll ask your opinion on it in a little bit.
Well, I love Lancer and I hate Archer because Archer's a quitter and winners never quit and quitters never win.
Yeah. All right, so Trip here is, he's one of the few people that we know that's basically played literally everything, and that makes him an invaluable resource in these kind of panels, because if you want to ask him about the weird quirks in any of the given visual novels, this guy knows them. In fact, he loves them. All right, next up is Joey. Joey's actually our fighting game expert. So Joey, what do you bring to this panel?
So, the Konami code.
Yeah, of course.
Wins Marvel.
Hey,
Wins Marvel, baby! But no,
Type-Moon, Natsuverse, we're not here for Marvel. No.
aka Konami sucks.
Yes. All right, so, Joey, what do you bring to the panel?
So, I was introduced to the Type-Moon universe before I even knew what it was, because unlike everybody else that's up here, they started with Fate. I actually started with Melty Blood. My friend got a Japanese import of it. I had absolutely no idea what the hell they were saying, but I love the game. I love the gameplay. I'm a huge fighting game fan. I always have been. And when I found out there was more to it, to the storyline, than what I basically found off translations on the internet, I decided, cool, I want to know what it is. And then these guys, they're my friends, they let me know, hey, this is actually connected. And about 3 months of nonstop binge watching turned me into this. So here I am.
For those of you who don't know, Melty Blood actually has a really in-depth story behind it.
Fuck that story!
However, it doesn't tell you the story when you play it, or ever.
It is the most infuriating game you will ever play. Never play
Yeah.
it.
We'll get to that in a bit.
Read the manga!
Pretty sure he gets it.
All right, so next is James Trin. He actually submitted the panel. He's the reason why we're all here. James, what are you bringing to the panel?
Oh, hi,
You
guys.
started it.
Oh, it's Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Yes!
Sarah.
Woo!
All right. So, anyways, my name's James. I did submit this panel, and I submitted it because there was a really lack of Type-Moon content. So I go to AWA and Momocon every single year, and there's no Type-Moon stuff. And I'm like, man, where are all the cool Type-Moon people? Oh well.
Right here,
And year after year after year, and then finally, like, okay, I'm gonna submit a panel, and I got it. So here I am. And a lot of people know that I like Fate, I like Tsukihime, I like Chronology of Kyokai. I am also possibly the biggest Rin Tosuka fan ever. Sorry. Yeah.
Sakura!
Hey, you shut your face!
Hey, we'll get to that discussion later.
All right. Anyways,
Introductions. Thank you.
I'm also really big into figure collecting. So if you like collecting Fate figures or like any Type Moon related figures, I like collecting them. I buy a lot of them.
I want your Gilgamesh statues, damn it!
There's only like one.
All right, and finally, we have James, our second James. He's actually going to be running the slideshow here, and by slideshow, I mean pretty much one panel, because unlike previous years where we went through everything, discussed themes, introduced you guys to content you didn't even know existed, this year we're going to be taking your questions, your discussions, your arguments, your opinions. That's why we have a microphone right there. In a little bit, you guys are going to be lining up to tell us what you think and what you want to know. And if you're interested in things like, can Shiki kill a servant? We'll answer it for you. And let me tell you, we are authorities on this subject. So James here is going to be running that, and he's also a huge fan. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was this James right here that got me into Type-Moon a while ago.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, and I played the Fate visual novel, and I loved it. It was awesome. Probably is still my favorite visual novel of all time. And ever since, I've been hooked. And all the anime, all the novels. I haven't played any of the fighting games because I don't have a console like that anymore. But yeah, all the Type-Moon stuff. Love it.
All right, wonderful. All right, so we're actually I was originally gonna kind of go through some of the content about what's available in the Type-Moon universe, but I'm just gonna do a quick rundown. So you guys can cheer when you hear something you like, and if I leave out something, it's because I don't want to talk about it. Yeah? All right, so let's start with who here likes, whoa, are you gonna give me help here? Is that what we're gonna do? No, I want the picture, yeah.
You want the picture?
Yeah, give me the picture. That's not the picture. No.
Yeah, dude, the pictures.
No, the one before it. We'll get naked Gilgamesh later. We'll pull it up on the internet before we're done.
Yeah.
Alright, so the big thing here is that the universe really started something called Angel Notes. I don't know if you guys are aware of what this is. It's like a light novel you can find, and it didn't get a lot of traction. It's pretty cool, and you should check it out maybe. But after that, a lot of stuff carried over into Chronology of Type-Moon. Are you pulling it up now?
No, I'm just like going through it.
Alright, so it makes this Chronology of Kyokai, which is fucking awesome. It laid all the groundwork, and it's great. And if you guys haven't already watched the Chronology of Kyokai movies, they're awesome. They're originally also light novels, they're worth reading, but the movies are great. Then there was a Tsukihime visual novel, followed by a Fate Stay Night visual novel and anime. You'll notice I skipped something there. Yeah, Clint?
Repeat after me. There is no Tsukihime anime.
I don't believe you. Again.
Alright, make one. Carnival Phantasm shows up a little bit later as a crossover. It's based off of, some fandom, and it became awesome. And then we started getting some really cool stuff. They started showing us things like Fate Prototype, Fate Apocrypha, Fate Zero. Yeah. And now we're getting the Unlimited Blade Works arc. There are a few other things like April Witch, DDD. No one really? Okay. I feel like, yeah. And then there's one that we've been waiting for like 2 years, which is basically Girls Works.
What's Tsukihime?
Don't forget.
Tsukihime, is it a genuine question?
No, he's talking about anime.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're on the anime page? Just get off of that. Give me a picture.
Fine.
A picture. Yes. Anything. Yeah. No. Yeah. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. I want you guys, because I know you guys have questions about things you want to know. Just fair warning, people are going to be asking things about the entire universe. There will be spoilers, I'm sorry. We'll do our best to try to warn you before we say it, but sometimes it's hard. I mean, at this point, you should know that Shiro and Archer are the same person. Two animes, one movie, and one visual novel. You better know by now. Yeah.
We actually watched the new episode. We actually took time out of the con to go watch it.
We made sure that we knew everything so far. We watched the new episode today.
It was awesome!
We want to make sure that you guys were going to be like, hey, in the new episode, what happened? No, we know. Hey! Yeah! Good stuff. All right. So, I'm going to be enforcing a hard one question, one opinion rule. If you want to have a second question or second opinion, you get back in the line. Is that clear? Everyone understand that?
What'd you say?
You get one question or one opinion. If you want to have a second one, you get back in line. I'm going to enforce this. If you go over it, we're not going to answer your question or have your discussion. I'm serious. There are too many of you. Sorry.
Don't answer any
All right.
questions.
You guys can start getting in line. I know this guy does. There we go. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. All right, now we don't have audio quite yet because these guys are working on it, so we're just having you guys line up and look like fools. Yeah. Good stuff.
Entertain us.
You all look at this little 3-year debate.
Oh God.
Oh.
Who would win in an all-out battle? Gilgamesh or Ort?
Ooh. Oh, that's a new question. I like that one.
So we have Gilgamesh, who has an anti-world weapon, of course.
Sure.
Crafted from a meteorite. Correct. Versus Ort, who is a type planet, type Mercury. Who would win an all-out battle?
That's a good question. Unfortunately, I have an answer for you that's really boring, and the answer is Orc. But we can go into why.
Here we
All right,
go.
Trip. Let it loose.
Trip?
Wow, I've never gotten a question that good.
Yeah. By the way, can you, sir, at the end of this question, you're going to pick one of
Actually,
those.
just go right now. Which way you want?
Right here.
What do you got?
You got 4 little shade mouse pads.
Yeah, give him something.
Yes!
This man, he is good.
Sorry, Trip?
Okay, this is coming from one of Gilgamesh's biggest fans. He's like top 5 character. Ort would win.
Yeah,
Ort
Ort would win.
Now, Trip, can you elaborate for us, please? Tell us about Ort.
Ort is type Mercury. You know, best thing I can link this to is you know who Arquaid is. Most of you.
All right, hold on. Let's roll back. If you don't know, in the Type-Moon universe, there are actual avatars of given planets. So they have like magical representations of themselves in our physical plane.
The moon also has one too.
Moon has one, Jupiter,
Hence the
Mercury.
name Type
Yeah,
Moon.
Arquaid. Arquaid is type Moon.
Well, Arquaid is type Earth.
Earth? Who's
Yes.
type Moon?
If I'm gonna life print this, why should I have it?
Yeah, her dad.
You're right.
All right.
Okay.
So, but tell us. So, Trip, tell us about Ort and being a type. What that means.
Yeah, so being a type, shortest, simplest way I can explain this is kind of being a god.
You're
you
also
are a.
perfect being, I think. is the
That's a good way. Like,
Yeah. So-
you know, Shiki. Shiki can see lines of death. Shiki couldn't cut a type.
Because they're considered perfect.
They're considered perfect. Now, could Gilgamesh kill a type? Probably.
Maybe.
Maybe. I see some people saying no.
Yes.
Because Gilgamesh has every single weapon.
No.
Again, coming from a...
Gilgamesh has every weapon that was in existence in some form when he was in rule. There are some items he has the prototypes of because they hadn't developed fully. And there's only one weapon, if you know angel notes, that can kill a type. Because it imprints the concept of mortality on them. And Gilgamesh does not own this weapon.
Gilgamesh
What?
does not own this weapon.
No, what he said is that Ea is an anti-world noble phantasm. So he said by that extension, would it not be able to kill it?
And I can see where you're...
Yeah, so potentially, but the reality is Ort is a god. Like a literal god.
Ea wouldn't be able to decompose or, like he did, say, a noble phantasm. Ort is a solid being. Ort actually exists as a solid thing. Ort would completely wreck Gilgamesh, and it hurts me a little to say this.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh.
So unfortunately, as awesome as that question is, he does not have the ability to kill Ort. Sorry.
Plus, I would just like to add on that Gilgamesh is unlikely that even if Ea could kill Ort, I don't think Gilgamesh would be likely to pull out Ea in a reasonable time span before Ort.
Yeah, so if any of you know about Gilgamesh,
Point. Gilgamesh is a cocky piece of shit who would only pull out Ea after you've convinced him you're worthy of pulling out Ea, and no type would do that. They're not really type Venus might. No type would, besides that, would actually probably reasonably convince Gilgamesh that they are worthy of pulling out Ea in a timely, quick, easy manner.
yeah, they just, smack him and he'd die. That'd
they're
be
a
it.
type.
Yeah, all right, so next question, please.
Bill, this is going to follow the same line. What if Gilgamesh in Fate Zero didn't pull out Ea against Ryder? How do you think we would have had a much better fight? Because honestly, I am very unsatisfied by that fight myself.
Really, that's my favorite fight.
Well, don't get me wrong. Gilgamesh is overpowered as fuck.
Dude, that was
But-
like,
All right, so the
I didn't
official
like
question.
I didn't like how short it was.
So you want to know if Gilgamesh would have won had he not pulled out Ea? Is that the question? Or are you asking how we feel the fight would go?
Both.
All right, so we're going to start with Clint here. We're all going to kind of give our opinions on this. So Clint, how do you feel the fight would go if Gilgamesh had not resorted to Ea?
I think Ryder could have won, honestly. And honestly, I feel like the more curious thing is who would win if Ryder won, who would win against, if it was Ryder versus Saber after that, who would win that final battle. But I honestly think Ryder could take him if he didn't pull Ea because the amount of troops would outnumber the amount of swords, honestly. And he would just stay in one place until Ryder just ran him through.
All right, Trip, what's your opinion on this matter?
Well, I'm going to use logic, and Type-Moon universe doesn't operate on this, so forgive me. Ryder rides at the front of his army. Gilgamesh shoots a bunch of things that kill things no matter what. I think Ryder would have lost sheerly due to the fact that he leads his army as a human being, and that's important for his identity as a king. Now, if you went against the war against ideals that Type-Moon operates on, Ryder would have tossed his salad. But
I'm so glad
No.
you used that phrase.
Remember, Ryder is a standard. He's Greek, definitely literally.
yeah. But that's my opinion.
history jokes.
Joey, what is your opinion on this matter? If you can contain yourself.
Oh my god. Okay, so Trip thought of his answer in a logical standpoint. I am going to relay my answer in the term of fan fiction. So, what I want is, or what I wanted to see was for Ryder and Gilgamesh to cast aside their differences and allow the Ionian Brigade to be armed with the Gates of Babylon. I would have wanted that. I would have wanted that war.
Yes.
That could be Tide Mercury.
That's a true statement. That's a true statement at that point. I mean, barely. Like, there'd basically be just Gilgamesh at the end, but yeah.
So
They could do it.
Yeah.
So I am a very big fan.
All right, James.
Zero Rider, by the way.
What is your opinion of this?
So, I think in my opinion of the way it would have worked is, logically, Ryder probably would have been skewered to death by a bunch of blades. But I will say this, Gilgamesh, even though he is kind of a cocky asshole, respects other kings, and he would have pulled Ea no matter what. It's just his character. He would have done it. He really would have.
All right, and finally, I'm gonna let James down there because he doesn't get to talk much in the computer. What is your opinion on this?
Yeah, I also think that Gilgamesh would have probably won that fight, even though I really love Ryder. I really wanted him to win, but in order for the anime to maintain coherency, I believe that Gilgamesh needs to win that fight as much as it pains me.
All right, so who here wants my opinion on this matter? Oh, okay, all right. I'm actually going to be with Clint here, but for a different reason. I think Gil would have lost because that, reality marble is super fucking dusty, and Gilgamesh would have been like, fuck this shit, and just bounce. He would be like, I'm not going to allow any soot or dust to get in my, armor. This is chafing. I'm dirty. Fuck this. And he would have gone. And you know what? He would have just been, if he didn't have Ea to deal with it, and he wasn't, wanting to sit around to fire all those, weapons out, he just would have avoided combat with Ryder until the end of his days. That's my opinion. And by that extension, he would have lost. Good question. Next.
I like that answer.
Sorry if I yell out a lot. That's fine.
Okay, so part of why I like Faith the most, I guess, is I've been into history and mythology and stuff ever since I was 5. So anytime a new servant pops up, I'm like, who is it? Oh my god. So Grand Order's announcements for Fate servants are freaking me out because hold on. Okay, so I just want to put it out there. The new saber with the popsicle sword is Attila the Hun, not Genghis Khan. Otherwise, that would be Ryder. But anyway. I've seen a lot of people saying Genghis. But anyway, my question is, who the hell is Castor, the clowny-looking one that they just announced? I think it's Nostradamus, but the scissors throw me off.
Ooh.
That would be. That,
You think it's
that would be
Faust?
okay, yeah. That would be
Yeah.
interesting too.
All right. Do for any of you guys who know what he's talking about, which you should, you're at my panel. You haven't seen it? No. All right. Trip, do you know?
I know what you're talking about. I honestly don't try to solve these. And now that I'm hearing the answer of Faust, that sounds right.
Well, part of what throws me from Faust is
all right, hold on, go on.
Because Faust is, he says, 3, 2, 1, the world ends, which makes me think Nostradamus.
All right. So one of the problems we have, unfortunately, it's a really good question. Is that they like to write these characters in such a way that everything that happens around them is implicit upon their mythology and their historical nature, but nothing about how they're introduced tells you anything useful. So they love this. They absolutely love this. We see this all the time.
Although they, who's seen the Berserker one? When they announced the one, and he mentions like, I think it's
He mentions Iskander.
Yeah, they mentioned
It's definitely Darius.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every now and then they'll give us like a fan little shout out by doing that kind of stuff. But for the most part, they like to keep us in the dark.
I've been kind of keeping like Grand Order kind of a laydown so I can actually try and play it, but you know, they've been revealing them. I've been enjoying the character design. I haven't really looked too much into it, unfortunately.
You want me to pull up a picture of the new servant?
Do you have internet?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, please pull it up for us. All right, he's going to pull it up, and you guys can decide in a second. Thank you for the question. We're going to let him ask as we look this up. Thank you, Grand Order Caster. All right, sir, what is your question or opinion?
Do we know how?
Get closer, it's okay.
Do we know how two reality marbles would react to each other? So if Archer went up against Iskander, how would their two reality marbles be able to exist at one time?
We have some opinions here. Let's go.
I feel like only one of them could exist at a time, so it would be dependent on the nature of the reality marble and the rank of it as a noble phantasm. So if Ryder had a higher rank noble phantasm than Unlimited Blade Works, the Ionian Battalion would show up before Unlimited Blade Works would, and he would get priority for that reason.
Yeah.
I view it as a bit more circumstance. No, I actually did just disagree with Clint Bradley. I think they could totally coexist at the same time. Because the thing about Archer's reality marble is it doesn't. There's a bunch of swords in the ground and it has that big image, yes. And for Iskandar's, it's sand and desert, yes. Except that's not vital for the way it actually acts. It's more of an image it paints as a result. I'm not sure what the physical image would look like, except I'm pretty sure the power that implies, as in for Iskandar, an army showing up, and for Archer, and being able to use all these swords quicker, faster, summon them, boom, 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 in a Gilgamesh-ish fashion, would still exist, and they could both just go at it.
All right,
and
Clinton,
I'd love to see that.
You had more to say?
Robots old?
The reason why I think they could only exist one at a time is because they exist in their own little space. Like how Ryder uses his Noble Phantasm to transport Castor in Fate Zero. He is creating a space within that world. I don't think that you could tamper with that. You know what I mean?
And I get what you're saying, because a Noble Phantasm is fundamentally implicit summoning them to your mind to some extent. It is bringing them to your mind and letting them experience your dream, your mind, whatever you feel like. But I feel like it could collide in such a sense, if it would.
Well, let's be clear here. Natsu would let them both exist because that's awesome. That's what he would do. That's how all of the rules work in the Type-Moon universe. I mean, they technically make sense, but only because he adds another rule just to make sure it makes sense. But I think ultimately Natsu would allow both to exist, because otherwise it's really anticlimactic if like Archer shows up and Iskander creates this reality marble, and Iskander, let's say, wins, and Archer can't do anything. He just loses. He just stands there, pretends, and then dies. Like, that's really pathetic, and I don't think Natsu would want that. So I think by the virtue of it not being badass, I think they would allow both to exist. What do you think, Joey?
I pretty much agree with Clinton. So
You think one or the other only?
yeah, I think it would be a rank check.
All right. James, you have an opinion on this?
I pretty much agree with Trip.
So it looks like we're pretty much split on the issue. It was a good question. Because of that, please pick. Over here? Yeah.
One just thing to mention about you saying, I think we care about the rules of this universe far more than Nasu does.
Oh yeah, we do.
Natsu really just does whatever he wants. And he has an established rule in the universe, except if for his convenience he needs to break it, he'll just write a new rule right in there real quick.
Alright. And are we almost there with the caster?
Yeah, the
alright.
internet's really slow.
Alright, while they're looking on that, sir, what is your question or opinion?
Unknown caster, that one.
Oh, we got it?
The unknown caster.
Yeah, that, yeah.
Hey, can we blow it up until? Yeah. Alright.
It's your pleasure. It's a red mage. It does look like a red mage.
It does look like a red mage. I'll agree with that statement. Unfortunately, that doesn't help us. That's not a historic figure.
Sorry about that.
No big deal.
Because it's got the horns and the tail, it's probably Faust.
Is it Faust or Mephistopheles?
It could be any of them, yeah. It could be, whatever it is probably inspired by demons or devils, but...
Alice was
In the Type-Moon universe, all of those political figures have been killed by the counter force that is Archer. That does not exist here.
Trip, would you like to tell us about General?
Oh, okay. So James and I were having this debate. If you could summon any servant, who would you summon? And this is biased for me because I think of everything hyper-realistically. So I thought, okay, who could I get a relic for real quick? General Sherman. I could walk down, go to the area he burned, summon General Sherman, and I would have a rider with a noble phantasm that is torching everything. I would toss anyone's salad with General Sherman.
All right.
Me and General Sherman would ride side by side, burning everything down.
All right, so hold on. You'll be up in a second. Sir? Your question.
It's not really a question, I was always just kind of curious.
Yeah.
You know those top magicians like Aozaki Aoko or her sister, whatever?
Yeah.
In any phase series, what if they joined? Not like those scrub, you know, the writers magician, the young scrubby one?
Sure.
Other than that, what if those
All right, I want to clarify this question. So he's referring to mages that are revealed in the Tsukihime universe. I want to clarify, are you asking what would happen if actual mages ever actually showed up in the Holy Grail War? Or specifically those mages?
No, I'll just go with Aozaki Aoko. Especially Aozaki Aoko.
Specifically that one? Alright, Trip?
So you're asking why they didn't show up?
No, what would happen if they
What
did?
would happen if any of them shows up?
Oh, okay.
Like the top
Yeah,
mages?
they'd win.
So, remember Fate
They're
Zero?
sorcerers, they'd win.
Archibald's super powerful.
Archibald's not a sorcerer. Aozaki Aoko in Red Toko, whatever her name is a sorcerer. They have found the root, hence why they don't enter. They don't need the Holy Grail. They've already achieved the ultimate goal of all Magi. The reason if they entered, frankly, they're practically as good as a caster class to begin with. So you'd have casters summoning something else, having infinite mana more or less to draw upon, and they'd probably, frankly, just win.
All right, so to be clear, I'm sure a lot of you don't know, the root is kind of like this eternal center of everything for magic, specifically, really. That's magicians, sorcerers, they all try to reach it. It's like their ultimate goal, because if they reach it, they basically ascend in power. They become almost all-powerful, if not all-powerful. So what he's saying is that these particular people have already ascended in such a way that if they showed up in the Holy Grail War, it'd be almost as if a type had showed up. It would be a complete outclassing of power. This is one of those things where when you start mixing and matching the Type-Moon universe, because it is all interconnected, you start to see some ridiculous interplay, which is why this is such a fun thing for us to do.
Wait, you know, I know they reached the highest level, but you know Aozaki Aoko, how like her what was it, her personality? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She got some weird personality. She can really join into anything without problem.
Yeah, so there, weird things would happen, that's true, but she definitely wrecked face. All right, next.
I think she just leveled the city and be done with it.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
So I'm gonna be a little shit and ask the loaded question.
All right.
Can Shiki kill servants? Either Shiki.
All right, we're gonna start with James. Actually, we're gonna go the opposite direction because this is hilarious. James.
Me?
Yeah. No.
Me and him.
You.
Me?
Yeah, Trin.
All right, which Shiki?
He said both.
Both? Okay. So you know the difference between both their mystic guys is their perception, right? So Ryugi Shiki is better at killing concept, whereas Tona Shiki is better at actually killing living things. So Nanaya Shiki or Tona Shiki is can technically fight a servant, but if it's Tona Shiki, he can't fight a servant. Let's see.
But whether or not they can fight them, what would happen?
Physically they can't fight servants. Physically, like we're comparing like a normal human to like a servant. Like servants are like heroic spirits. They're like known and like they'll fight you and they'll beat the crap out of you. Like it's just no contest.
No, I would like to
I know.
So, clarify your question. Go on. Hold on, sir.
I'm just saying that
Do you want to know if they can kill a servant?
I'm just saying.
Or they win in a fight?
I'm saying in terms of physically keeping up, like.
If they could physically keep up with the servant?
The question is if they can kill, but I'm just saying in terms of physically keeping up. Rin was able to beat the shit out of Castor in hand-to-hand combat. So again.
Hold on.
So I think
Hold on.
Well, that is a fair assessment.
You have to remember that Castor was a caster and she was a mage at the time, and it was also clarified that the newer mages. That she was an older mage compared to one of the newer mages, and the newer mages are more accustomed to like hand-to-hand combat, whereas she's used to like just casting spells and not really doing physical stuff like that. So she really wasn't expecting that.
If the question is basically can they keep up physically, the answer is no. If the question is can they technically kill one, the answer is yes for one, maybe for the other.
They can kill Gilgamesh.
Yeah, and if the cancer, because he would just you feel it wouldn't be.
Here's what would happen: like Gilgamesh would just completely underestimate them.
Yeah.
And they just walk up. Gilgamesh just like stand there all smug, like, "Oh, do your best shit. I'll just even stand here. You can do anything you want." And then slash, and you'd be dead.
Yeah.
And then there goes Gilgamesh.
But short of that, would they win in a fight? Like if both sides entered a ring? No. Hell no. No way in hell. Would never happen. Fucking Castor would just rain hell down on them. Any of the servants, literally the worst of all the servants, would just straight murder them. The only way it would work is if they just walked up behind one of them in like the middle of the day and like slash one. I don't know, kind of like that lady in the beginning of Tsukihime. And then maybe they'd be able to get a kill.
So the thing is, it's all situational based, really. So if you've seen like the level charts that Nasu's revealed, Kuzuki is actually the highest, like the most powerful person on his rank for some random reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And that's because everyone underestimates him, and he could wreck them. I don't know why.
True, Shiki? He's the most powerful because he can destroy the world. He can cut the life out of the world and kill the world itself.
Right.
Shiki deserves his spot. To say if he could destroy a servant individually without destroying the world,
Yeah.
But he can count the world. He deserves his rank. I'll argue that.
All right.
Next question, sir?
Okay, so I really like character development, and at the end of Phase 0, we know that Kitsuga was like Saber destroyed the Holy Grail. Now, when Saber came and was summoned to Shiro, like, I want to know what you would think if, if she brought up that past, if they, like, started to get this big conflict, she would show a different side to him and he wouldn't believe it. Like, where would that go and, like, how, like, it would go?
So your question is, what would happen if Saber was honest about her memories of the past with Shiro?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to let Clinton answer this because I think he understands what's going on with the servants and their memories the best.
I think it really depends on the adaptation because in the visual novel we don't get that much dialogue from Saber on the matter about how she feels post Kiritsugu's service. In the Dean anime, she says she does have negative feelings about it, but she mainly has self-regret. She doesn't feel any animosity towards Kiritsugu. But honestly, after seeing Fate Zero, if you watch any of the adaptations or if you play the visual novel, you can't help but just feel so sorry for all the crap that Saber has to deal with Shiro. Because even with a competent master, she couldn't win the Grail, and now she has to do the whole thing over again and risk him dying every 10 seconds.
All right. And to answer the question, tell us about servant memories and why, and what would happen if she tried to talk about what happened.
Well, where I was going with that is, I honestly, depending on the adaptation, I really don't feel like Saber remembers 100% of that war from the beginning.
It's worth mentioning that Fate Zero is a prequel that was made after the original story.
That's a good point as well. But like with that being said, it just puts a different perspective on the established storyline. It doesn't really change anything. But like I said, it's never really clear, it's never really explained how much Saber remembers from the beginning, and even if she did remember all of it, it really doesn't matter to her because she is so driven on her focus. The first thing she does when she gets summoned in Stay Night is beat the shit out of Lancer, and then goes and beats the shit out of Archer. So it's like, she's just like, I just want to fight, I just want to win, I don't care who is my master, I'm going to get this done.
Yeah, so I guess the answer basically is even if she could remember, which she may not truly 100% because the way the Holy Grail works, that you know, it's not in her personality in that second summoning for her to really bring it up or even mention it in any way, other than basically to say, I regret what happened, and then basically move on because she has a new goal. So that's pretty much how it would play out.
Yeah, like I said, it's more her personal regret, not any animosity towards Kiritsugu.
I'd like to add like this.
James would like to ramble on about something.
Well, also I like that because that was one of the huge things when like the first season of the new Unlimited Blade Works anime came up. You saw like the one little shot of where you see as soon as she mentions his last name is Amiya, you see that little shock on her face. She's like, oh, and I was really hyped up they were gonna do that. I was like, oh, they're gonna tie in so much of with Fate Zero and this new era. It's gonna be great, and they never did.
All right. Next question, sir.
Okay, so when you have Bazette's Frag Arch, it activates when they activate their ultimate attack, right? And it kills them before the attack activates, basically.
Right.
So in a fight between her and like Heracles from Fate Stay Night,
okay,
would it activate against God Hand? And if so, who would win the fight? Because let's assume it kills Heracles.
So the question here is who would win a fight between Bazette and God Hand's power in Heracles, right?
Yeah.
All right, Trip is dying to answer this, but before he starts, look at his face.
I want to answer this too.
James, can you please get me a naked Gil? Yeah. We're running, we got about 30 minutes left, and I definitely want to make sure that that's what we're seeing as we go through the rest of this. And Trip, can you please answer while we pull it up?
Okay, once we pull it up, or...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Just go for it.
Just go, answer. Yeah.
Alright. Bazette would get destroyed by Hercules. It doesn't... She could only... I think if it activated... Hercules doesn't have a true secret technique. And even if it did activate after that, which I think it could, she has 3 of those, and she could only take 1 life at a time out of Hercules. Hercules has too many lives and is overwhelmingly more powerful than Bazette. Even in Hollow Autorexia, when they do kind of sort of go at it, I recall more running away than fighting. They just get wrecked. Bazette doesn't have a chance against Hercules, and I love Bazette. Bazette is, in my opinion, top 3 strongest mages. She could beat some servants on a good day, but they're still servants. She's still just a regular person. But she has no chance against Hercules, because Hercules hard counters so many Fate Stay Night characters.
So the basic thing here is that God Hand isn't an activated ability. It's just always an effect. He's always has those lives. He just has them.
So it would cancel it out, basically.
Yeah, it can't kill him before he gets the extra lives. So what would happen is it would kill him before he like murdered her, and then he'd lose 1 life. He'd come back and then continue swinging, and then maybe she could do it again, and she can do this however many times she does, and then she dies. That's the short of the interaction, and Clinton's itching to say something. Yeah.
I think what you might have been implying is that if Bazette could kill Hercules the first time, that she could prevent him from regenerating the other times. But like he was saying, as far as like the physical prowess goes, she just would not be able to break through his armor, would not be fast enough, would not be able to actually kill him the first time to stop him from regenerating. Let's say that she could prevent him from regenerating, she would not be able to kill him the first time, unfortunately, as much as I love her too.
What rank Noble of Testament is? I think it's like a C, right?
Hers?
I think it's like a C by default until it activates.
Does it match the opposing?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't match it, so it would be like S basically.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
Okay, I see under that argument, even in the best case scenario, like let's say it activates, she only has 3 of those.
Yeah. It doesn't
could
cancel
activate,
lives.
and it could, assuming she killed him once, take out 4 of his lives at best. And that's assuming she uses all 3, activate, boom, boom, boom. Then she'd get wrecked.
Yeah, that's the short of it. I see a hand up. Get in line, sir. Yeah. Get in line. Thank you. No. Line. Yeah. Sir, question?
So in a fair fight between Fate Zero Lancer and Fate Stay Night Lancer, which one do you think would win? And in an unfair fight, which one do you think would win?
Ooh, he added a stipulation.
Is this a real question?
Okay, but can either one of them fight unfairly?
Well, no.
Yes, actually.
No,
Yeah, Fate Stay Night could.
Yeah.
No, like, and in an unfair fight, like what I was gonna ask is which one would end up killing himself first?
Oh, shots fired. Sir, because I laughed, please. Yeah, good stuff. All right, Joey, Could you field? What do you think would happen in a fair fight first?
In a fair fight?
In a fair fight, who do you think would win?
Yeah, in a fair fight, it's Stay Night, obviously.
Cookling.
He would just pretty much do what he did to Shinji and just backhand him into a freaking wall. Yeah. Which was, by the way, the best scene of the new anime, in my personal opinion. But yes, in my personal but correct opinion.
Hey! This little lady here hasn't seen that episode yet. Spoilers.
And
no, it's already passed. All right, go on.
But yes, just based simply on Gabolg, the Heart Seeker Strike, I just think that's a much more useful and much more powerful Noble Phantasm than Zero's.
Yeah.
Because Gabolg, it's so brutal, it alters reality. It just goes like, I don't give a crap what I have to do, I'm stabbing you in the heart. Let's go.
All right, and then I think I want Trip's opinion on which one kills themselves first.
That's mean. Both of them kill each other at the same time, probably. They both have E rank luck if you want to actually cite sources.
Yeah, I can just imagine it. Like, he throws Gabolg, Rise it stabbing him in the heart, like Jermu just trips and falls and like stabs him too, and the both of them just lay there going like, I won't die yet because I'm a noble person, and they just bleed out, being like, good fight, buddy, good fight.
It'd be a contest of who can bleed out the slowest.
Yeah. All right, next question, please.
Okay, we're gonna go to Fate Ilia, the magical universe. Magical universe.
All right, hold on. Who here does not know the beauty that is Fate Ilia Magic? You don't know anything. All right, this is awesome. It's magical schoolgirl Fate Stay Night. How fucking awesome is that?
Oh yeah. So major spoilers ahead. So if you want to plug your ears, do so now.
All right. There you go. Okay, so your question, sir, in the Ilia universe.
So, in Ilia's in the Iliaverse, you kind of have a mix between the Zero and the Stay Night ones.
Sure.
Because you get the actual assassin, which was only present in Zero,
right,
unless you go through the Heaven's Feel route, and then you also have Saber Alter. So does that mean that Heaven's Feel is actually probably more canon in this set than the rest?
All right. So the real question here, let's blow this down. The real question here is, in Prisma Ilia, which is not canon, is Heaven Feel more canon? Is that the question?
That universe.
Yeah. All right. Trip, what do you think? I think he's the only one who absolutely adored it. I liked it, but he loved it.
So much etching.
Yeah. So here we go.
I think the Ilia route from the Fate Stay Night is a true canon in the Ilia universe. As we'll all remember from the Ilia route in Fate Stay Night, that Ilia ultimately finds Kaleidoscope Ruby and leads Berserker and her to victory in what is generally considered the greatest route of Fate Stay Night. And I believe that is the route that the Iliaverse is based on.
Chip, can you please explain the joke for the people who don't get it?
Do I have to?
Yes.
Originally, there was going to be an Ilia route, except it was canceled due to lack of time and money, so there is no Ilia route.
Yeah, because Ilia was gonna die in 6 months.
Shut up, Ilia's the best girl.
Ilia is all right. We'll get to the best girl question at the end. I'm gonna make sure it's the one I asked them. Your question?
Okay, so my question is, if you could pick one thing that has not already been adapted into an anime out of the whole universe.
Hold on, everyone. Give her some respect, please. We should be all noble spirits here. Come on.
Okay, so if you pick one thing from the whole Type-Moon universe that has not yet been adapted into an anime, what would you pick?
Ooh, all right.
100%, mine would be Fate Apocrypha.
Nice. Okay. All right. So, Clint, what would you like to see as an anime?
It's a very close tie between Holodiraxia and Apocrypha, but I may have to go with Apocrypha as well, just because of the quantity of servants we've not seen animated yet.
Trip, what would you pick?
I love Holodiraxia, except I don't want to see it adapted ever because I don't think it'll work. I want Fate/Emiya, which will be a backstory about how Emiya Shiro ultimately becomes Archer, and is about how much he suffered. It's kind of the Emiya Kiritugu story. That's why I want to see adapted. It don't exist, but I want it.
Joey, what do you think you'd pick?
When it comes down to things that haven't gotten an anime yet, I would actually, and I'm still really interested in this because I haven't finished reading it yet, but Strange Fake.
Yes!
I really want to see that as an anime, just because I like. Thank you. Yes, I like everything that they're doing differently. It's basically just the Holy Grail War, but Americanized, and I really just want to see how they adapt with that. And I'm not done reading it yet, so please don't count my full opinion too hard on it.
All right, and James, what would you like to see?
I want a Tsukihime anime.
Yeah, I'm with him.
That series does not get enough love.
And
it
they need
really
to.
doesn't.
And if not Tsukihime, I'll settle for like a Melty Blood React or something.
But Tsukihime needs a good anime.
It's true.
It deserves a good anime.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Wait,
next question.
Who shouted Battle Moon Wars?
Both of you shouted Battle Moon Wars?
Wow, I like that game. It's a fun game.
Your question?
Hello. First of all, I would like to do a shout out for Bazette because no one appreciates Bazette. Bazette is cute as fuck. I love her.
All right. Could you, because there are a few people who don't know, this is quasi-spoiler, but it's not going to be revealed in the current anime. Could you please tell people who Bazette is? We've been talking about her a lot, and I think you, as Saber, should really share this.
Alright, so Bazette's kind of the main character of Hollow Ataraxia, and...
And what's her important in the Fate universe, the Fate Stay Night kind of
so
stuff?
I should spoil it?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, she's the original master of Lancer.
That's right.
And she gets murdered.
Yeah, alright, so Bazette is the original Master of Lancer in the Fate Stay Night anime series. We just never ever hear about her or see her in any of the anime adaptations, so it's not really a spoiler to tell you who she is, but at the same time it's a major, huge spoiler. Alright, so your question?
She's in Carnival Phantasm for like 5
Yeah.
minutes. But my question is, I'm a huge fan of Arthurian literature, which is why I originally got into the whole Fate series. And alright, if Saber and Fate Zero found out earlier Berserker's identity, what do you think would have happened, and how would they have resolved the conflict, and what would have happened with Gilg and everything at the end?
Okay, so the question here is, what do we think would happen if Saber from Fate Zero would have known who Berserker's true identity was immediately, and they'd like met kind of alone to talk it out, to deal with it, to discuss past issues?
Yeah, like
Fate Zero?
Do you think
Yeah,
they
Fate Zero.
would have do you think they would have like?
We're talking Lancelot
or
here.
something?
All right, Clinton is dying to tell us what he thinks.
Okay, so actually, you just addressed one of my biggest gripes with Fate Zero, and that is the fact that poor Lancelot and King Arthur do not get a lot of dialogue together because he has the madness effect on him from being a berserker. And that's really unfortunate because I would have loved for them to have I mean, they have briefly a dialogue when he's finally defeated. But when Fate Zero was a light novel and when it was in the mere conceptual phase, I wanted to, that was one of the things I was most excited about, is the King Arthur and Lancelot dialogue.
All right, and what do you think would have happened if they had it, or if they just fought it out?
It always bothered me that Saber won through sheer attrition and didn't have some unique way of beating him because he was stronger in innate strength. I honestly don't think that anything would have happened differently. It just would have been good character development for both of them because I don't think that there would have been a different matchup or they would have fought sooner or anything like that. I feel like the fights happened exactly as they needed to. Saber needed to fight Berserker and Gil needed to fight Ryder. It had to be those fights, and I don't think it could have happened any other way, but I just would have liked more dialogue with them and more character development. Maybe they would have met sooner, like in Season 1, maybe, and talked things out if he didn't have the madness effect, and that's just really a shame that they didn't do that.
All right, are there any counter opinions? Because I have one.
Towards
the answer here, yeah. I think what would have happened is that if Lancer was not under the Lancelot was not under the madness effect, I think that the honors that they both had, the honor system, they both would have basically bound them almost to silence anyway. You know, whatever happened in the past happened in the past. They're there for that reasons. Lancelot probably would have yelled in rage very similarly. Oh my God, I hate you for what you did, whatever. But I think ultimately you would have had a very stoic response from Saber. And I think it would have ended very similarly, even if they'd had some kind of conversation, because it would have basically boiled down to Lancelot drooling and being upset about whatever gripe he has, Saber regretting whatever occurred, and then the two of them beating each other to death.
I
James?
prefer consultation room.
Hold on.
Although, I pretty much agree with whatever with what Clinton said. But a side note about the whole Bazette thing. I know we're backtracking a bit. Who here was kind of upset that Lancer did not get a flashback scene? Yet everyone else got a flashback scene. Like Castor got a flashback scene. You never see.
It was a good flashback, by the way.
Yeah, you've never seen her original master get animated. At least I don't think you ever have. I don't think so.
Yeah, that was the first time. It was fucking awesome.
By the way, that episode was great. That was like, really good.
Did that answer your question? Yeah. All right, wonderful. Taiga, I believe it's up for you to tell us.
Hi, Taiga.
What's your question?
Tell us your number one.
I'm number one.
Yes.
Number one waifu. Sorry, ladies. All right, I do know Clint's opinion on this already, but I suppose that it would be good to review. We were talking about how, spoilers, Saber is King Arthur. And in a lot of ways it doesn't make sense. Like, when I was originally playing the visual novel, I thought she was Joan of Arc. And it was one of those things that always bothered me. I think it was just that Nasu was like, no, it has to be King Arthur, even though it doesn't make any damn sense because it's a woman.
All right, and the question?
So, the question is, do you think it would have made more sense? And I guess I'm wondering, because I've never seen anything, I think that maybe he kind of backtracked because Joan of Arc does show up later.
Sure.
Do you think that maybe he ever had some idea that maybe it should have been Joan of Arc? And that's kind of her characterization because it's more, I think, Joan of Arc's personality.
All right, we have actually a hard answer from this, basically from Nasu, and the hard answer comes in the form of Fate Prototype. Are you aware of the Fate Prototype?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the basic hard answer is the seal is from Trip, who wants to share. Yeah, the basic hard answer here is that basically the original story was to be told with King Arthur being literally the male King Arthur. And so I don't think at any point Nasu had Joan of Arc in mind when he changed the gender, because the only reason he changed the gender was that you, the player, would not have to get rammed by King Arthur. I'm not kidding. This is it. This is what happened. You can't sell it. Women very rarely buy arrow gaze, and when they do, that's not what they like. They would prefer if King Arthur was ramming Gilgamesh. Let me put it that way. Joey?
And one of the things that I've always just had in the back of my head when it comes to that is King Arthur. The name is more powerful than Joan of Arc's, at least in the English based world. Just you have all the lore and stuff, and Joan of Arc's big. Don't get me wrong, but King Arthur, if you put that on it, I think it would just sell better.
Yeah.
From a salesmanship point of view.
And Clinton wants to share his opinion here.
Yeah, we did talk about this, but I just wanted to add that if you were to look at Fate Stay Night, Rialto Nua, the patch version without the hentai scenes, or the Dean anime, and you had no idea that they changed it for the reason that they did, I still prefer the gender bend because it defies your expectations. Everything about Fate Stay Night, story, the visual novel, and the anime defied expectations. That was one of the things that I latched onto it because it has the school setting, you have teenage protagonists, you're in Japan, you have a fantasy aspect, you have a magic aspect, and it is somehow not cliche. So that's one of the things that got me hooked on to begin with.
Well said, Clinton. Thank you. Next question?
So going back to the would Fragart, whatever, Brazzet's Noble Phantasm, if it could kill Berserker. What Berserker used his Hydra killing Noble Phantasm, which even though he's not supposed to be able to use Noble Phantasm, we saw Lancelot using a whole crap ton of Noble Phantasms.
Trip?
Okay, so for the sake of this question, I'm just going to assume Berserker is summoned as Archer or not the Berserker class. It's Hercules, but his Noble Phantasm has changed due to his class change. Is that a fair assumption?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, then Bazette would have a chance. Except in order for that to happen, she would have to be because Berserker would no longer have his lives. His Noble Phantasm with his class is fundamentally changed. Bazette would have to find a way to make him use that, and frankly, Hercules is one of the strongest people you can summon, in my opinion. He's a demigod. His stats, even before the Berserker boost, are insanely high. I do not think Bazette could beat Hercules as an archer, saber, or whatever, except I think she'd have a better shot. And if she did get Hercules to activate his Noble Phantasm, then she could in fact kill Hercules that way.
All right, there you go. Next question. Oh, Clint, you want to add something?
I just wanted to clarify some of the terminology there because it's not true that Berserker classes don't have noble phantasms. It's just their noble phantasms are usually passive abilities rather than active ones you can initiate. So by saying that Lancelot could not use noble phantasms, but he was using them, is not genuine to what his noble phantasm is. His noble phantasm is just to turn whatever he touches into a weapon that he can master. It's weapon mastery. And then he has another ability which we won't go into.
A knight does not die with empty hands.
Sir, your question?
Yes. This is a personal argument with a friend. In Heaven's Feel, when Archer gives Shiro his arm.
All right, hold on. Spoilers for Heaven's Feel. There will be a movie coming up.
August.
If you don't know what's going to happen in Heaven's Feel route, just kind of tune out. Say la la la. It's a good chance right now. All right, so go on.
I would have brought a spoiler bucket, but I forgot.
When Archer gives Shiro his arm.
Shh, give him respect. We're all nobles here. Come on.
I've had the argument that Archer was putting aside his hate for Shiro and to defeat Shadow, but my personal stance was that it was Archer's last attempt at Shiro's life because he understood that Shiro would use the power and end up destroying himself.
All right, so the question here is was Archer, in some sense, still trying to kill Shiro through the use of what was left of him, or was it just simply the effects of the arm? Is that the question?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And Archer here, he's going to tell you his true opinion, and we're going to confirm this with secondary Archer here. No, really. You're going to answer after this. Yes. So please, Archer.
Well, this is going to be a bit of a rant. I think what you've just asked kind of initiates a common discussion about Fate Stay Night and how the routes progress, and that it is possible, it's not necessarily canon to do this, but it is possible to refer to all three routes as one linear timeline. So if you, not to mention how they develop between Fate and Unlimited Blade Works, if you compare how they would develop from Unlimited Blade Works to Heaven's Feel, you would then come to the conclusion that that world's version of Archer does not want to kill Shiro anymore and does want to throw away his differences and say, hey, you got this, bro. Take it, it's yours. But that is just a way of interpreting it. It's not necessarily canon. So I think the canon thing is actually, I would kind of agree with you and say you're correct that he would be like, all right, I am not going to survive long enough to kill you, so you're going to go out with a bang, but I'm going to make damn sure you're going to go out.
And Archer?
I mean, my opinion isn't really powerful, but what I can say is
Dude, like Gilgamesh, he has no chance against you. Like, he just loses. So, come on, Archer, what do you got?
From what I recall, I thought that Archer's initial goal was to, rather than eliminating him, he just wanted to destroy himself, like you said.
Right.
And he didn't destroy Shiro physically, but by betraying his ideals, his morals were destroyed, therefore he was destroyed.
So you're saying that you believe him to be wrong, that he actually did put away those beliefs in Heaven's Feel, and all the damage that was being suffered was simply through the effects of a servant being attached to a mortal.
Yeah.
All right.
So to clarify.